Levi, how are you?
All right, I'm good. I'm good. How you doing?
Good. I just got, your campaign, and so we just got back to the campaign office. We
Yeah,
were,
I know it's rough. A lot of stuff going on at once. I know you tired. I'm
yeah,
tired.
it's all. I appreciate you doing it late because
Yeah,
it's one of those things where it's just like anytime you're between like 5 and 8 or 5 and 8:30, you just want to be out talking to voters every night.
yeah. Okay, so for the people that don't know you, please just introduce yourself. Tell us about your run for mayor and basically everything that's going on right now.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So I'm James Solomon. I'm running for mayor here in Jersey City. Elections in November. And I'm running because Jersey City is freaking expensive, and we need a mayor whose number one task is actually trying to address that. So, how do you build homes that are actually affordable with rents like at $1,000? How do you, make sure people can stay in the homes that they currently have, whether it's the taxes that are driving them out or crappy landlords who are trying to abuse them and turn over the apartment and raise the rent. So those are all the things that like kind of just need to be fixed. And I'm running because I think I can do something about it. Both that I can win, that I can beat the machine and the developers, and then also once I get into office, actually try to solve these problems. So that's why I'm running. And then my kind of quick story, and I have to get into it like more, but quick story is I got involved in public service really 2015 here. So my wife and I, Gabby, had just gotten married. About a month after we got married, I got diagnosed with lymphoma. Blessed today, been in remission for 9 years. But when that happened, I was, had this life is short moment. I'm like, I'm 30, I have cancer. What is it that I want to do? And for me, it was just two things. It was public service and family. So got better. Wife and I had three kids. So we got three baby girls who are 7, 5, and 3, Camila, Corinne, and Noel. And then ran for city council basically a year after I got better and got super lucky, won a tough race, and have been on the city council ever since. So that's the quick version. I'm happy to talk more, but that's the quick version.
That's actually funny because
Yeah.
the first interview I did was with
Yeah.
Ali,
Yeah. With
and
Musa.
you have both a very similar story.
In that
Very
way, yeah.
similar.
And I mean, we talked after his diagnosis. So, I won't share like what we talked about because that's private, but we definitely talked, had the same diagnosis, basically, a couple of smaller differences, but same type of cancer. And, I think we're just really blessed that he's healthy. And when you have those moments, you just really think deeply about what it is that you want with your life.
So you touched a little bit about the housing, but that's something that a lot of people want to know about. It's a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of stuff going on with Jersey City, and the main
Yeah.
thing is it's not livable anymore. The
100%.
original residents of Jersey City
Yeah.
have slowly been getting pushed out. The
Mhm.
downtown, I'm only 23 years old,
Yeah.
but the downtown is a completely different place.
.com,
And
100%.
those prices are starting to come more towards the Greenville section area. So
Yeah.
can you share some of your plans
Yeah,
to
100%.
stuff like this can't be reversed. The
Correct.
prices is stuck. But
Hmm.
do you have any plans where you can try to maintain it where it
Correct.
is now?
Yeah, that 1,000%. I mean, it is the most important issue in this city and in this race. I was on Central Avenue. Sneaker Room does like a big back to school event every year, and I was just talking to this woman. She got a 6-year-old, and she says that her apartment went from 1,500 to 2,500 in 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years. Think about that. That's nuts. And she's like, "Look, I love Jersey City. My son wants to stay. He's 6. He's got his friends, but how can I pay 2,500 a month?" given the job that I'm working. And to me, like that, her story is the story that you hear thousands of times around Jersey City. And for me, it's like if you do the job of being a council person well, you're hearing that story every day. Um, the rising rents are just pushing so many people out. So then what do you do about it? I always want to be honest, right? Like no one can snap their fingers and just like magically lower rents tomorrow. I just know that we can do a heck of a lot better than we've been doing. So for me, a couple of the plans. The first one is when a developer wants to build a big new tower, my requirement is to say you have to put affordable homes inside of it. You can't Journal Square, all of those towers, there's not a single affordable unit in a single one of those towers in Journal Square. Not one.
Yeah.
And to me, that's nuts. These guys can afford, the project is still going to move forward. They can afford to put affordable units in there. So, our thing is make them really affordable. Make them rent 1,000 a month, rent 1,500 a month, rent 2,000 a month, rents that real people can afford. So require that. Then if you're in your home, then make sure the landlords can't abuse you. So limit how much they can raise the rent each year. Not zero. We're not freezing the rent as much as I would love to, but how much they can raise it, and go after them if they're not maintaining your apartment. I was at Van Wagenen last night knocking on doors. Every single person that I talked to said there are rats the size of hamsters in the building. One lady said that her, I'm not making up this story. She was just out in her folding chair, and I was just talking to her, and she said that she didn't have a working refrigerator for 15 months in her apartment. For 15 months. And so a lot of these landlords just think they can do whatever the heck they want and no one's watching. So go after the landlords, make sure they do what's right. And then for the people who own their homes, make sure the property taxes don't keep going through the roof. Um, Seniors, there's a state program that actually keeps people in their home. When I first ran in 2017, we went door to door to sign people up for that program. We did it in multiple languages. I know that there are probably thousands of Jersey City seniors who qualify for that program but don't know about it.
Yeah.
To me, those are a couple things you can do, right? Build more affordable homes in the big towers, crack down on the landlords, stop them from raising the rent through the roof, and then help the seniors stay in their homes with the property taxes.
So another thing that I thought was very, very
Yeah,
important to talk on,
yeah, yeah,
because it's something that it's getting a lot of people angry,
yeah,
and I know it's probably out of your control, but it's good to see where your mindset is about
yeah,
it, especially someone running for mayor is going
yeah,
to tell us your mindset for things in the future that you may or may not want to do.
yeah.
So they wanted to turn, you already know where I'm getting at.
I do. I do.
Yeah, the one way on
Now,
Ocean. So
yeah,
this is how I feel about it. This is
yeah,
the same thing I told Ali.
yeah,
It's if you come down to the Greenville section, it is not drivable.
yeah,
It is not walkable.
yep,
It is not good for your bike, your
yep.
anything. The streets are destroyed and the streets
Oh,
been closed down back
right.
and forth for the
Yep,
past 3
yep.
years. So this
No,
is my problem.
yeah,
Why are you wasting money to go
yep.
turn something two-way that's going to destroy traffic and all the streets now are undrivable? I just want to know where your mindset is about that whole plan.
Yeah, it is the question. If I am on the south side of the city, if I'm south of Communipaw and I'm knocking on doors, I'm asked that question every time by every voter because it is on people's minds. And for me, it starts with this. Mayor Fulop, he was it was a master class in poor leadership. It's like everything you shouldn't do, right? If you have an idea that you think could make people's lives better, you need to actually talk to those people. You need to actually show up south of Communipaw. You need to go talk to the community leaders and say, this is why I think this idea might be good and here's the benefits of it. Let's talk about it. Let's adjust the plan. Let's have multiple meetings, multiple conversations, have a real dialogue. Instead, he just tweeted it out and then said, we're going to city council is going to vote on this, and then just lifted his hands up. The original proposal was MLK and Ocean. Then it switched to MLK and Bergen. And at no point did anyone really explain why this was happening. And so for me, like it is the absolute like backwards way to be a leader in a city. If you want to be a leader, you start with a community. You start, okay, what's on your mind? How can I make your life better? How can I improve things? And I said, everybody, there's not a single person I've ever talked to in all of Jersey City that doesn't want better bus service, safer roads. Everybody wants that. But you can't think that you're smarter than other people and you're going to impose things on them. So for me, that's where this whole one-way thing, it was just you had a mayor who didn't have trust in the south side of the city, who just put this idea out there, didn't do any work, didn't talk to anybody. And there's not a single person I know who lives south of Communipaw, who's born and raised in Jersey City, who thinks this is a good idea.
Yeah.
Every single person in a community thinks it's a bad idea. You should probably listen to it. I mean, so to me, it's about leadership and it's about, are you a leader who listens and connects with the community and works to make things better, or are you a leader who thinks you know better than the people you're supposed to be leading?
So obviously, you're running for mayor.
Yeah,
In your position, I
yeah,
told the same thing to Ali. I'm going to be fair and honest with everybody.
yeah.
You're going to tell me what I want to hear. You're going to say all the right things because it's going to make you look good. That's what you're supposed to do. And
Mhm.
you may do something completely different.
Yeah,
But while we're here, and I can ask you this question,
yeah,
it's we all know that there's a difference in treatment from downtown to the Greenville section. These
Thousand,
aren't words I'm making up. I don't really have to speak. You can see it with the action with your own eyes. So I just want to know
yeah.
what are some of the things you have planned or in mind to include this part of the city? And I know once if you win and you're the mayor, you can't be everywhere at once. Let's be honest, it's not possible. Everybody has a job, you're busy. But what are some of the things
Mhm.
that you would like to do to include yourself within the community and also include their input?
Yeah, no, 100%. It's a great question. So first, you said it, and it's 100% true. You can see the difference in treatment in the city. Just drive. I mean, talk about the roads, right? You drive down Garfield, like it's you're not that like Summit's much better, but like you're bumping everywhere. But for me, it's like as a mayor, your job is to show up in every part of the city and listen to what are on folks' minds and make their lives better. So the things that I hear in every neighborhood is the affordability thing we talked about first. So there's not a single neighborhood people don't ask me about how can you make sure that we have affordable rents? How can you help me with property taxes? So that's going to help the whole city. The thing that I oftentimes hear on the south side that other I hear in other communities, but less so, is opportunities for young people. That I hear over and over again. We have our young people in our city, and we're not doing enough to give them the future that they deserve. Um, and people talk about 30 years ago, Jersey City had the CETA program, had summer jobs, the Armory was open on Montgomery. And now we don't have those things. And then that's compounded by all the money that they see flowing into Jersey City, saying, all this money is here. How are there less things for our kids today than there were 30 years ago? And only anyone can have a good answer to that question. To me, the only answer is we failed as a city, if that's the reality. So for me, a couple of things that I really want to do, again, help kids all over the city, but I think particularly on the south side, is 1,000 summer jobs and internships. We want kids getting work opportunities, getting experience, and getting money in the summer. And the second thing is open a rec center on Bayside by Bayside Park. We want a 24, not 24/7. We want a nearly 24/7 rec center that's open, that's free, that families can go to, that has summer programs, that has after school programs. Kids of all ages have chance and opportunity. I think that those opportunities for young people make a difference. It's the things you remember when you get older. So I think that to me is really, really, really important. So those are, I think, like a couple of initial things. And then you talk about just like showing up. So you're right, you're mayor, you can't be everywhere. But Jersey City's big. It's not New York City, right? It's not Chicago. It's not a city that is so big it's impossible for you to be in every community. And so me, our promise is in the first year as I'm mayor, I'm going to do 100 community meetings. And in 100 community meetings, we got 6 wards. That means in each ward, I'm going to have, nearly 20 meetings, a little bit less than 20 meetings in each ward. If you're in a ward 20 times in your first year, not just like a little handshake and photo op, but you're actually there, you're talking to people, you're going to a couple of different churches, you're going to maybe a mosque, you're going to do a meeting in a park, people are going to see that. And again, that again, a contrast with I think what we've seen with the current mayor is he is as he's been mayor over the years, people just don't see him anymore. They certainly don't see the community in a way in which they feel comfortable engaging with him. And I think as a mayor, your job is to just be present, solve people's problems. The mayor up in Union City, Brian Stack, lots of things he does I don't agree with. But the thing that you have to credit him for is he will do a community meeting in the middle of a road. They'll pull out folding chairs and they will have people sit. And when people tell him what their problems are, he works his butt off to solve them.
Yeah.
Like, what more are you asking for? And then for me, it's the mayor, but also the council and making sure the council's doing that too. So I think that's a couple of the ways that I'm thinking about making sure that if I do win, I show up. And if you show up, then you can listen. So you can even, come to the meeting and say, you said this on, when I interviewed you, but now you're doing something different. So what's up? What's going on? Because if you're afraid of the constituents, you don't show up. But if you respect them and acknowledge them and actually want to talk to them, then you're going to show up and answer questions.
So to retouch on what you talk about with the youth,
Yep.
it's one thing we know for a fact. At a certain time, we start to matter less, and the youth will always matter more. And that's
100.
just what it is, whether we like it or not. You just slowly lose your place to the youth. So that's something that's very important. I know I'm losing. I'm 23, but I'm losing my spot
You're,
soon.
you're, you're, you're
I
you're
know.
23. You're young. I'm 41. I got daughters. Yeah, I've seen the other side. You're still young.
So for the youth,
Yeah.
I had a lot of ideas as far as school. It
Yeah.
all starts when you're at that younger age where
Hmm.
you're able to and you actually have the time to retain more knowledge.
Yeah.
And the most important thing to me is financial.
Hmm.
Financials, financials, financials. A lot of people in the Greenville section, which is a more of a poverty area, of course, have no type of financial education.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if there's any way possible,
Mhm.
to maybe add some curriculum of a
Yeah.
financial literacy program inside the schools. And if that's not possible, because we
Yeah.
know it's always more to that, everything
Yeah.
sounds good, but it's harder to do. In the rec center, maybe
Yeah.
that's something you could try in the rec center, put
100%.
financial literacy programs
Yeah.
and move it on, try it in the schools. I
Yeah.
just want to know your thoughts on that, the possibility of
Oh yeah.
something like that happening.
So it's a great question. The state senator who covers the southern part of Jersey City, Angela McKnight. I thought that she actually passed a bill to require financial literacy education in like the middle school years. So I have to like double back and see like exactly what she passed. But the shorter answer is yes, we can do it. It's going to take a little bit of time, right? You got to get the school board to commit to it. Got to find some of the resources. But it is like a core concrete skill that is so important to teach people. Just basic financial literacy can help save people money. And there's so many ways in which our society is set up to take money from those who have so little and give money to those who have so much more. And you got to know about all those things, but you got to be aware of all the ways in which, there's a phrase that says it's expensive to be poor. Because all of the different ways that our society is set up to find ways to take money from you if you don't have a lot of it, and giving people that education to make sure that they can avoid the traps that they can avoid. Now, some of those traps you can't avoid because it's just a screwed up system. But for the ones you can, giving people the education to avoid them is really helpful.
So now I want to move on
Yeah.
to the violence in the city.
Yeah.
And this is really important
Yeah.
because, especially when you're mayor,
Hmm.
which sucks, I like to give grace to anybody in that position, whether I
Yeah.
like them or dislike
Yeah.
them,
100%.
because at that point,
Mhm.
even though you have nothing to do with it, the blame is on you.
Correct.
You're in the kitchen in a Monday morning enjoying some breakfast, somebody get killed, and you're to blame.
Correct.
But since that happens, some people don't want to make themselves look bad. So
Yeah.
they start lying. So now we have a problem in Jersey City
Yeah.
where they're lying about how somebody died on
Hmm.
reports to make
Hmm.
the city look safer so
Hmm.
this can come in.
Yeah.
That's a problem. That's a
Yeah.
problem. So if you're somebody, like I said, of course you're going to tell me what I want to hear, but I'm going to ask you anyway. If you're somebody in that position, what are you going to say
Yeah.
when somebody's getting killed? Is this something that you're going to make sure is publicized and people know? Because it's at a point now, they're lying on certificates
Yeah.
about the cause of death.
Yeah.
If you want me to keep it honest with you, everybody knows it that they're doing that to say the city got safer and the crime rates dropped. No, it didn't. I'm sorry to tell you, we see somebody getting shot on Facebook every other day. You can't sit and lie about something like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, it is the number one job of anyone who you sort of said you want to give grace because there's a lot on your shoulders in that type of position. But the number one thing on your shoulders is keeping people safe. And no mayor will ever succeed 100% of the time, but it's what you have to do. But to me, it's like people's lives are the one thing you can't. I mean, I'll curse for a second. Like it's the one thing you shouldn't fuck with, right? It's like it's the one thing that just like if anything, that you have to just be direct and honest about. Because both for the family, right, who has to grieve and go through the trauma of losing somebody and feeling like the city is not being honest about it. But then I also think more broadly that people feel that their lives and community is valued, that you acknowledge the pain and trauma of violence and someone being lost. So I think for me, the way I've always thought that I would approach it as mayor is, really acknowledging each and every person who's lost and doing it in a way that's respectful, that respects their family and their privacy, but also acknowledges that anytime there's violence in the city, it's an extraordinary it's an extraordinary tragedy that deserves a response. And I hear I'm sure the pressure that you talk about, the economic pressure, right? Make it look like everything is good at all times. That's going to be there, but you got to push back. You can't let it win because if you let that win, you're sacrificing the whole reason you got into public service, right? You always got to look up and look yourself in the mirror every morning. I got to raise my children and make sure that, whatever happens, they can look at me as a positive example. And if you end up succumbing to that type of stuff, I think you've really lost your way in public service. So I understand the pressures. I understand where you're coming from and saying, look, once you're in that seat, if you get there, you're going to face those same pressures. But I think you just got to be honest with people. I mean, violence is that thing that you got to just be direct with because it's so awful when it happens.
Okay. So
Yeah,
next thing, I got
yeah,
a couple of things for you. Bear
okay.
with me. I want to know
Yeah,
three things
yeah,
that's important to you. Everybody has an agenda.
yeah,
There's something specific that they're focused on to
yeah,
get done and accomplish when they get in
yeah.
these positions. Can you give
Yep.
me about your three most important
Yeah,
things that you're
yeah.
focused on to get done?
Yeah, it's a really really good question. Can I list five instead of three?
Go
Because
ahead.
I got five. Because
More is better.
correct. A couple people have asked me this, and I'm just like, okay, if I can do this in my first term, if I get in and have 4 years and I can do this, I will feel I've been extremely successful. So the first thing is that housing affordability, that we build thousands of new affordable units that people actually keep people in the city. We implement all of our broader policies to help tenants. So that's the first thing, keep the city affordable. Second thing is stabilize property taxes. The city budget has been poorly managed. Taxes have gone up substantially. We've got to get that under control. Third thing is deliver basic city service as well, like road repaving, right? The roads are disasters. It is. I always ask people when I talk to them, my canvas is, what's the number one problem in Jersey City? Housing and rent is always the first thing I get. But roads are kind of the second one because it's just so noticeable. You just drive down a street and you're just like bumping up and down. So deliver city services effectively. Then the fourth is create those summer jobs and youth opportunity. Build that rec center, build those summer jobs. And then the last is not a thing but a feeling. I want to change the feeling, I think, in a lot of neighborhoods in the city that the city government doesn't care about them. The city doesn't care about their lives. That there's a city government that's actually connected, that's actually delivering. And so to me, if I can do those five things, the affordable housing, the taxes, the basic city services, the youth opportunity, and then wrap that all up in a sense of, hey, we got a mayor and a government that actually care. To me, that's success. Now I got 15 other policies. I can talk to you about the environment and transit and education and all of those things. But to me, if I can do those five, I think I'll have done a really, really good job.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've seen McGreevy's plan. He has a plan where he wants to put a lot of speed bumps and a lot of cameras around the city. Obviously, no matter who you are, where you are, everybody's goal is to make things a lot more safer.
Yeah, 100%.
I want to know what's your thoughts on that and if you have similar plans because this is my problem with it. Not to
Yeah.
be repetitive, but
No, it's okay.
everything starts to connect.
Yeah.
If you want to do that eventually, maybe later on down the line, okay. But how are you going to talk about adding speed bumps and cameras when the roads are undrivable now? That's
Speaking of, yeah,
something that's very annoying.
yeah.
You're
I hear
going
it.
from Z and we're not even at A yet.
I hear you.
So I mentioned something in the comments and somebody in his team says we don't have the money, but we're looking for a grant. That's a problem to me.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at grant for that? How about you look for a grant to get the streets fixed? That
Yeah.
makes no sense.
Yeah. I hear where you're coming from. So I think you can do both, right? So when you repave a road, fix the road, do so in a way that ultimately makes it safe for everybody, right? And so again, not a single person I've ever talked to says they want kids to feel unsafe crossing the street, right? They want people to be able to go crazy on roads. Everybody I talk to says, no, no, we want our roads to be safe. So for me, I think the cameras do make sense. Now we can't do them immediately. We'd have to go to Trenton and let Trenton let us do it. But say New York City. New York City put speed cameras in around their schools. By just putting in the speed cameras, they were able to drop like serious crashes and deaths by like 50, 60, 70%, right? And I can go find the exact numbers, but like that makes a big difference. People are safer. And then you go, okay, speed bumps. okay, we're not just going to put a random speed bump on one road. It doesn't make it safer. But we look at the whole road and say, how do we make this safe? What are the different roadway redesigns we can put in place? Maybe a speed bump's part of it, maybe it's not. And then to your point, well, now the road is smoother, it's easier to drive, it's been fixed, but everybody in the neighborhood feels like it's safer. And then you feel safer walking and crossing and all that type of stuff. All that I think we can do. The last piece of that is you don't just do it. You actually talk to the community during the process. You don't just show up one day and redo the road. You actually say, look, here's our plan. What do you think? What are the ways you could make it better? You live on that road, you drive on that road, you walk on that road, you bike on that road. So you can tell me things that I'll never be able to know about it. And we put that in place, and then the road's safer. So to me, that's how you kind of balance it.
So I actually need to go back on affordable housing
Yeah, go for it.
because the percentages is not making sense. And this
Yeah, I know.
it's it's a lot going on. You've been in politics. You're much older than me, so I'm sure you already know.
It's sad that
But
that's true, but it is true.
it's
It is.
a lot of corruption.
Yeah.
It's a lot going on.
Yep.
It's a lot, and it's
Yeah.
aggravating to a lot of people who's been on this earth before me. But I already know what's going on, and
Yeah.
it's important that we get back on it because
Yeah.
we say you're gonna work on getting affordable units, but
Yep.
are they going to be affordable?
Yeah.
Because that's the term they're using now,
100%.
affordable. And what happens is when you have such a huge unit
Yep.
of a new apartment and a small percentage of affordable housing, and then they're what? Sometimes they lottery it off.
Yeah.
They're giving it away to family.
Yeah.
They're after you get in, they're trying to kick you out.
Yep.
They you know the paperwork stuff.
100%.
What's your plans to deal with that? Because a lot of people think just because it's a
Right.
certain amount of affordable units, they don't know what happens. They tell you, oh, they have to fix the apartment up, and you never come back.
Yeah. No, it happens. No, I mean, like for us, it's a couple things. One is the first piece is what is affordable. So our thing is we want to be specific, right? We want rents 1,000 and under, rents 1,500 and under. That is rent folks can afford. Now, if we just sort of say we want general affordable, you might get rents 2,300, 2,400. And well, that certainly isn't a bad thing, right? That's cheaper than the market rate. That isn't enough for a lot of working families to be able to stay in the city. So we want to prioritize getting those affordable units at 1,000 a month, 1,500 a month. There are ways to do it without getting into super like technical stuff. There you can do what's called a buy down of an affordable percentage, use affordable trust fund money, things like that. All that's the wonky stuff. But like the point is you got to be committed to genuinely affordable units. And then once they're created, we've all been in Hudson, we've been in Hudson County. We have seen how the system can work. That all of a sudden somebody's friend and somebody's buddy gets the affordable housing unit. There wasn't the appropriate lottery, right? All of a sudden someone gets it and now they're being pushed out. So for us, as we create an oversight agency, there's an agency that's actually been created at the city. They're trying to get this process started, create fair lotteries, fair systems, fair oversight. But there's a lot more we can do. But you're 100% right that there is corruption in so many of the processes. All of a sudden, there are people that I see get affordable housing. I'm like, how'd you win the lottery? Like,
Uh,
I think I mean, like, it's just as was it just a coincidence that the person who knows somebody won the lottery, and that's the stuff we got to get away from. And that for me has always been what I've been like against in my whole political career, right? It's like Menendez, right? The gold bars and the couch cushions, like it was not. But like I've always been like, I got to be independent from these guys because these guys, I mean, they're blatant. Let me think about that. Think about taking a gold bar. You're a United States
yeah.
a gold bar. Like, I mean, multiple gold bars. He had 400K in cash just sitting around his apartment. 400K.
yeah.
Nuts. Nuts. But that stuff happens. I mean, our school board, I was talking about this tonight. Our
Uh,
former school board president, Sudan Thomas. Now he was arrested by two separate law enforcement agencies, which is unique. That guy wrote blank checks. I mean, he literally stole money from the people who need it the most in the city, our kids and reentry people, folks coming from reentry. Like, how do you steal people money from those people? But
yeah.
those guys are all around the system, unfortunately, and that's what you got to be in public service to try to fight back against.
So you're not ready for this one, right?
Okay.
You're not ready for this one.
Okay.
So, like I said before, some things don't really need to zoom in. some things don't really need to be said. Sometimes actions is a clear indicator of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can, not sometimes you can, you know
Yeah.
when something's about to be gentrified.
Yeah.
So, how I felt about the Berry Lane Park,
Yep.
when
Tough.
stuff like that comes, it's letting you know
Yep.
what's coming in the future. So, I used to always tell people when I was younger, this park isn't for you. This park is for the future. Everything is always planned out years ahead before it unfolds.
Mhm.
So the government's mindset is let's put this here,
Mhm.
right? After we put this here, the value rises. Once the value rises, then they put the building. And a lot of times, it's not really what's built is what has the value, it's what's around you. A
Mhm.
lot of these houses in downtown haven't got fixed in a long time. They're small like a closet, but what are they selling? They're selling your surroundings. So
Right.
they put the park there to sell the surroundings. So
Mhm.
I have this question for you.
Yeah.
So I seen you post. I think you were part of that project that got that small park done right by Hoboken and 16th Street projects.
Yep.
So this is what scares me about that.
Yeah.
So it's been talked about for years about getting 16th Street projects removed. And then they were going to try the old everybody leave so we can do the repairs thing. So when that park got built,
Mhm.
I seen it as an indicator, and I'm pretty sure that's what it is. That 16th Street is gonna be knocked down, and that park is not for those kids. It's gonna be for those kids when a new skyscraper or high rise or apartment building is built over there. I just
Yeah.
want to know honestly, is there some truth to that specific place?
So for 16th Street, no, but for broader point, yes. And the reason for 16th Street, I would say that is because this is something that I was working on very intently. And so I know the whole genesis of that over the years. So for me, just briefly for 16th Street, so if you had been there before, right, it's basically, chain link fence. You got basketball hoops without nets and uneven pavement. But people in the community come by, they do barbecues, there's a volleyball league that would come by. So it's used, but obviously no one would look at it and say this is a nice park. When I canvassed in Holland Garden, 16th Street projects, it was mentioned to me a bunch. There are two main issues or there are three main issues actually that people mentioned to me when I was there. So the first was, hey, that park sucks. Like, can we get netted nice? The second was we have no bus service. Used to be a bus went away. What can we do about the bus service? And then the third was the conditions in Holland Gardens suck. Like there's black mold, housing won't repair anything. So those were the three main things. So I was like, okay, I got to go try to get this park built because that's one of the things that the people in the residents are asking me for. So no one in the city cared. So like you're right, like Barry Lane, they cared, right? Barry Lane was like the top priority, and part of it was because of who owned land near Barry Lane Park, right? You're going to make a ton of money if you build that park there and you own land nearby. And look, for 16th Street, I'm sure there are people around there who benefit from it, but it wasn't like the administration was pushing for it. I was the one who was like, we need to do this. And so then first we did it in 2020, we got money to do the planning. Then COVID hit, so everything got delayed. We did the planning. At the end of 2021, the plan was done. But then it just took forever to get it actually built, which is why it took 4 years to get built. But ultimately, it got built. And we did the plan with the community there. So we got like a lot of like good input about what folks wanted. The challenge with all that though then becomes what's happening to Holland Gardens? Because separate from the park, it's like what's going to happen to Holland Gardens? And there is a plan. There's a developer that wants to come and build it. But this is the point you're making. You can say, okay, I'm going to make sure everyone gets back in, but you can say that, but a lot of people don't end up making it back. Our job as the city, and that happened. It happened at Duncan. It happened at one of the other ones. I think maybe Montgomery, where like the promise was made. Oh no, everyone's going to get to come back, and then they
No.
did. Yeah, and so people have a right to be skeptical, a right to be cynical, to say, look, you promised this once before and you didn't do it. Now, my view is I have to change that cycle. If something's going to change at Holland, you actually have to make sure that there are like ironclad, like you will pay me $1 million if you don't let me back in type of agreements. So that's what I'm working on, and that's as mayor what I would want to do to make sure that everyone in Holland make sure that they can come back if they do that change.
So everything sounds good. You
Yeah.
know what you said. It sounds good.
Yeah.
What you said about getting affordable housing, 1,000 to 1,500, it sounds good. It
Mhm.
sounds great. It's going to put a smile on people's faces, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
problem is, how possible is it to get that done?
Yeah.
How possible do you think it is to get that rent, that
It's
price done?
yeah.
How possible is it?
It's definitely possible, and like I wouldn't be running and talking about those things if I didn't think it's possible. So, like, give you examples: property taxes. Like, it would be great for me to run and promise that I'm going to cut your property taxes 15%, right? All the homeowners would love it. They'd be like, "Oh, this guy's promising," but like, I know there's literally no way I can do it.
Yeah.
It's what I promised to people is we're going to end the big tax increases. We're going to stabilize property taxes. And that doesn't sound as exciting, right? Stabilized property taxes isn't as exciting as cut property taxes. But like I just know that I can't do it. So for the rents, that's something that we've looked into and we know we can do. And so basically, to give you just like an example, let's take one of the Journal Square towers. So that tower's got 500 units of 500 apartments. They can afford right now, without any subsidy, make 15% of those affordable. And then affordable has certain criteria. It's defined by the state, but you'd have some of the rents towards 1,000, some 1,500, more at 2,000. Then what we do as the city is we can spend our affordable housing trust fund money, and we can say, look, you have that rent at 2,000, developer, yeah, I'm gonna actually give you a little bit of money, and you're gonna use that money. You're gonna drop that rent from 2,000 a month to 1,500 a month, and then you take that 1,500 month rent. I'm gonna give you some more money, and you drop that to 1,000. Now, it takes time. So the thing that to your point, I can't just snap my fingers and do it. You got, okay, the development's coming. How do I get it in the development? It takes 2 years to build. How do you sign the agreement? When does the money come? So it's not a type of thing you can snap your fingers and just make it happen, but it is doable and it is possible. And separate to that, we have a couple of projects that the city is doing where we are doing the right thing that can help. So Bayfront project over by 440, over by Mexicana Diner that's closed. That will be the first phase is just starting. That will be about 200 units, genuinely affordable, right? About 65% affordable, some what we call workforce, some actually genuinely affordable. The next phase can be the same thing. Now we need state grants to get it done, right? There's a number of things you have to put in place, but we're doing it. That is moving forward. So to me, you can do it. It is possible, but it requires commitment and it requires an ability to go after these developers. Because the thing is, if the developers fund your campaign, we're the only campaign that doesn't take their money. If they fund your campaign, you get into office, you're going to struggle to get tough on these guys. You're going to struggle to say, "Hey, I need you to do this." Yes, you still got to be able to build, or you're not going to build a new project. But we need more from you. The last thing a developer wants is for someone to come in and create a requirement that says they have to build affordable when they don't have to.
Yeah.
So that to me is the key. The key difference is you got to be willing to fight these guys. And that to me is like, I think that's the core thing with change, like Mamdani in New York, other people, that you're not going to change something if you're not willing to fight.
Yeah.
That to me is just like the core thing. Yes, you got to work with everybody, but if you can't fight, what are you doing? And for me, there are some real big fights we have to have.
So I'm hearing that a lot of the buildings in Journal Square are kind of like struggling a bit to completely fill it because the prices is so bad and
Yeah.
they have so many units.
Yeah.
Is it possible if you were to get in office? I don't even know if that's possible to kind of make some of those units now affordable. You can't do
I
that,
get what
right?
you're saying. Once it's built, it's hard.
Yeah,
It's not impossible, but it's really hard. So you don't want to promise it.
yeah,
Yeah, but I mean it's a great idea because they're already built. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So now, oh,
yeah.
what's something that's very, very important? Yes, this is what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So, I made a comment on McGreevy's Instagram post the
Yeah.
other day where he spoke about every kid deserves an equal education. And in the comment, I said, so if you're saying that, he kind of made it seem like he wanted everybody to be equal. And he mentioned something else. I don't remember exactly what it was. So I asked, is it in your plans to end zip code schooling, which is de facto segregation? I want to know, do you have any plans for that? And,
Yeah.
and, and what we know certain schools just have better teachers, better criteria. Just
Can you hear
that's
me?
yeah, that's perfect. I was just resending you a link. You already
Yeah.
knew. You already knew what to do.
I've,
Thank you.
I've, I've done the Zoom link. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I just wanted to know,
Yeah.
would you? Is that something
Yeah.
you see trying to get done? Is removing the zip code? Because
So
certain.
yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. So like we got like a whole kind of education plan,
Hmm.
and it covers things like the summer jobs and the after school program. We talk about how, the school district is separate from the city hall, but as a mayor, I want a appointed deputy mayor of education. So somebody who's like my right hand man or woman, and that person is meeting with the school district every day. And then what I think makes sense is a little bit what you're saying, but take open enrollment. So my girls go to public school here in Jersey City. So they're 7, 5, and 3. They're at a really good school. I never say which school because just, safety, all that kind of stuff. But like
Yeah.
they're at one of the schools here. We're lucky. It's a really good school. There are open spots in some of their classes. That should be open to the whole city, right? I don't see why can't have an open enrollment process
Hmm.
where any family can say, "Hey, look, I want to have a chance to get to this public school or that public school." So I think that makes some sense to create some opportunity for families to be able to go to those open spots that we have at that school. And then more broadly, one of the big things we try to do is crack down on the big developers, and make sure that they pay. So we put in place what's called a payroll tax to fund our public schools. A lot of these big guys literally just don't pay. Literally for 5 years they haven't paid. And I think you pay taxes for 5 years, they're taking your home from you. But if these big guys don't pay taxes for 5 years, they think that they're scot-free. So we actually did an audit. And so we looked at the 200 of the biggest contractors, so the builders, the guys who build the developments. We found that less than 10% had registered to pay the payroll tax. So imagine that 90% were not paying their tax. And that goes directly to our public schools, directly to kids. So we cracked down on it. And our whole thing was, look, we don't, I don't want to take their money. I want them to pay. And that's simply what, I think we've been missing in Jersey City is that ability to kind of crack down on folks and make sure that we're actually delivering for the city.
So I drive a motorcycle.
There you
I
go.
drive a truck.
Yeah.
I have a bike.
Yeah.
I walk. I take
Yeah.
public transportation. We're in the city. Sometimes it calls for different things.
Yeah.
It seems a lot of people is putting a lot of blame on the drivers. I
Hmm.
drive. I understand.
Hmm.
Nobody's talking about the people who walk, who also decide to do things that's makes no sense.
Hmm.
Nobody's talk. A lot of people talking about the people on these electric scooters. They're crazy. They have no respect for nobody or nothing. But nobody's talking about the people on the bikes who are all just as bad. And I've seen a bit of everybody running for mayor talking about the consequences to bring on to these people to make it
Yeah.
safer. What's
Yeah.
your mindset on all of this? Knowing that it's
Yeah.
not just the cars. Everybody keeps focusing on cars.
Yeah, I hear you. The reason why I think, at least for me, speaking for myself, the reason why I focus on the cars is because everyone who's using a road, biker, driver, pedestrian, you can screw up, you can be dumb, you can be on your phone, you can create danger. The challenge is if you're in the car, you can create the most damage. So it doesn't matter, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't work to make sure pedestrians do what they're supposed to do, not stare at their phone while they're walking in the middle of the street, or bikers don't go down the wrong way. Like, yeah, that's wrong and we should talk about it. But the reason, at least for me, I focus on the driver is like if you're in a, 1-ton vehicle going 40 miles an hour and you go through a red light, it's much easier for you to kill somebody doing that than it is the other way around. So that's to me why I focus on the cars piece of it. But agreed, everybody can do really dumb shit on the road. It's things you see all the time of people doing that they shouldn't be doing. So I do think as a mayor, you can think about, okay, how do I try to make it clear to everybody you've got to be smart, don't endanger anybody's life, but then make sure that I'm focusing my resources on whatever can create the most damage, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I feel like obviously, that's truth to that.
Yeah.
When I'm in a vehicle and
Yeah.
somebody else is walking or bike,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be fine. But we have those situations where they're causing people cars to flip,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
if
Well,
they're
yeah,
gonna get tickets,
I
if
hear
they're
you.
gonna get tickets and in trouble, then people who's walking and decides to walk in the middle of the street on a green light, and they
Yep.
get hit and cry wolf,
Yeah.
you can't. We have the bikes going through cars and vehicles. They get hit and cry wolf. The first people to get in trouble is the person driving the vehicle, no matter what. They're liable since they hit them. It's like, where
Yeah.
do we find the balance in something like that?
No, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I think for me, we do need real traffic enforcement in the city, which we just don't have any of. And that can make sure that everybody is treated fairly, right? I agree with the point that everyone's got to be treated fairly. You can't do, hey, we're only going to look at this one type of vehicle. So hopefully that gives you some sense of how I think about it.
So, I also wanted to know,
Yeah.
sometimes it gets very trashy in the city. You
Yeah.
know, you're the mayor. You're
As I
you're
say,
you're
to
you're
say the least.
you're running for mayor.
Yeah.
So you have to care about the whole city.
Correct. 100%.
I'm just in the conversation with you. I care about the whole city. I love the
Yeah.
whole city, but I'm
Correct.
focused on Greenville.
Yeah.
They misrepresented. That's who I'm focused on. I'm here to keep it honest with you. So
100%.
it gets dirty sometimes.
Yeah.
And I just posted a video about, specifically, it's times where the street sweeper, somebody from downtown was complaining that the sweeper comes each side once a week.
Yeah.
That made me laugh
Sure.
because the
Sure.
street sweeper in Greenville, it's
I think
times they
so.
miss my block for a whole month.
I saw the video. Yeah. You said
But
a month
the
and a half.
parking ticket still came. I mean, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
You have my promise that will not happen if I'm mayor. And if it does happen, we will dismiss the tickets. Just hold like all of them will get dismissed because that's literally just like treating people like you're sucking money from them,
Yeah,
right? It's like we're not going to clean your street, but we are going to ticket you for moving your car. I mean, that's nuts.
yeah.
Nuts. I saw the video. It was a good video. Like it was nuts. No, I mean like 100%. It's like there is a really bad trash issue across the whole city, but to the point you made at the beginning of downtown getting more, it's you can walk downtown, the streets are definitely cleaner downtown than they are in other parts of the city. So we need to make sure every part of the city gets the same number of resources, and we don't treat those parts of the city like we're just here to take their money. So street sweeping, it's a basic city government. You asked me those five things I want to do. One of them was just do basic government well. Like just every day, the street sweeper is supposed to come. It comes. It actually picks up the trash. Because sometimes that sweeper comes and it picks up nothing. It's just like it
Hmm.
rolls and the trash is just there. So make sure we actually have the right sweepers that can actually pick up the trash. The guys driving them are trained properly. And then people are like, okay, yeah, I'll move my car. It's annoying. It's not fun. I literally I had to move my car today, like it's 4 blocks away from where I am today, just because I had to move it for street sweeping day. But if for me, it's just that's the type of thing that you can do. And then when you have this type of thing where if it hasn't come for a month and a half, how did nobody in the government who obviously the people in charge of sweeping I'm sure knew and whatever, but how do the people in charge not know? And
Hmm.
like our thing is every 2 weeks, the head of that department's got to sit with me and tell me about what they did. And then I got people who are working for me who are actually double going out and checking to see if what they told me is the truth.
Hmm.
That's the type of city government we want, to hold people accountable. If I'm paying you $150,000 in taxpayer money to run my public works department, you you better as heck sweep the streets.
Yeah.
You know, so hopefully that gives you a sense of how I'm going to approach it.
So, like I said before, with the Bayside Park, when you're dealing
Yep.
with anything political, it's always
Yeah.
a bigger agenda at play. You're
Yep.
dealing with money.
Mhm. Yeah.
People don't like to waste money. So when you're dealing with money, like I said, when it gets political, whatever
Yep.
you're investing in,
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
has to be doing multiple things. So
Yep.
that's how I feel about the cameras. And
Mhm.
if when people bring in the cameras to talk about it's just for cars,
Mhm.
I just don't like. Let's be honest here. It's also to watch people on the street, and it's probably more focused on watching people on the street than it is vehicles. And I
Mhm.
just I don't like this honesty. It's more so to watch people. I mean,
Yeah.
we're gonna
Yeah.
see if the cameras get done. They're gonna put it in high crime areas and act like it's facing the street is 360. So saying that, anyways, I just
Yeah.
don't like the fact. Be
Yeah.
honest. But what are some of your plans
Yeah.
to tackle the crime in the city right now? Because me
Yeah.
personally, if it's
Yeah.
being used for that, I
Yeah.
I care and I don't. because
Yeah.
I don't think none of that's cool. It's not funny to me. Any type of crime, any type
Right.
of ignorance is not cute. I don't glorify it. I
Yeah.
don't it's just not cool. I just don't like the fact that they're lying about it. But what's
Yeah.
some of your plans to address and
Yeah.
fix everything that's going on with Jersey City?
Yeah.
Try.
Correct.
You're not Superman. Like I said to Ali, you can't
Yeah.
try.
100%.
What's
Yeah.
some of your plans?
Yeah, it's a great question. So for me, it's like you got to do three things at once. First is you got to invest in communities. You have to pour money and resources in. So Baltimore's a great example, right? Baltimore has dropped their violent crime, their murders by 60%. Now, be skeptical of the numbers, just like you said, but hard to hide 60%, right? If it went down 60%, there's something real there. So what did they do? The first thing they did is they invested in the communities that had the most violence. They actually put money into the communities. It's a little bit like the opposite of the street sweeping, right? Taking the money out of the community. It's putting it in. So they made schools and it made them open until 11 p.m. So people in the community had somewhere safe to go, kids had somewhere safe to go. They invested in summer jobs. Summer jobs was a huge portion of that. They invested in violence interrupters, right? So basically people from the community who know people who engage in violence, oftentimes members of gangs, and can actually speak to them, right? It's oftentimes those members aren't going to speak to a police officer, but they are going to trust somebody from the community that they know. So invest in violence interrupters. So you do that. Then at the same time, they did invest in more police. Now you have to make sure those police are on the beat, that they're seen and they're visible, but police are an important part of solving violence. Now, the next piece is you got to hold police accountable if they don't do what they're supposed to do, right? So those to me are the three things. Invest in the community, put real resources in, then get officers out walking the beat in the community on the street, and then hold officers accountable if they don't do what they're supposed to do. I think if you do those three things, you can reduce violence. You're never going to get to zero, but you should strive to get to zero, if that makes sense, right? You're never going to get there, but your goal has got to be to try to prevent any single act of violence.
So this is gonna be a long shot. What I'm
Yeah,
about to ask you.
yeah,
I asked Ali.
yeah,
I don't know how possible it is,
yeah.
but no question is a dumb question, as they say.
Correct.
So
Yeah,
there's a lot. Everybody knows there's a lot of drug traffic in the Greenville section.
yeah,
They just did some big bust, and they're finding a lot of money. I remember about 3 years ago, I believe they went inside of a house and found that they had a couple million in cash and a
yeah,
couple million worth of merchandise
yeah,
of medications that they were stealing from
yeah,
pharmacies or whatever.
yeah.
When that gets taken, I wanted to know if it's any possibility
It's a good question.
you can get some of that money
Yeah.
and reinvest in it in the community that was taken from.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So right now, the way that I think that system works is called civil forfeiture. And the police take it and then they put it back into the police. So like there's a fund, it's called civil forfeiture fund. It can be abused. So I actually start by saying that the system is done the wrong way, where what they should do is they should take the money and then basically put it away until you're convicted of a crime. Because if you're not convicted, they shouldn't be able to just take your stuff.
Mhm.
But right now, they can actually take it, and there are a lot of them times they never give it back to you. But let's leave that aside because that's more of a reform at the state and federal level that we got to do. But let's say, okay, you took the money. Okay, the guy's convicted of the crime. Right now, the police use it and they use it on police things. So, hey, we need to buy another cruiser. We need to buy, equipment. We need to buy training. It makes a lot of sense that you can then spend that money back into the community. I mean, it's like I've never thought of it. It's a really good idea. It's intuitively, it makes total sense. I'm gonna research like what we could do with it. I'll make a kind of a quick note just for myself because if I don't write it down, I won't remember to do it. Uh, it makes a ton of sense. So let me see what we can do there. And then the other thing, a little bit different, but just worth flagging. Um, the state of New Jersey is supposed to have a fund that's worth tens of millions of dollars taken from cannabis taxes to invest back into the cities that were most directly harmed by the drug war. So Jersey City is on that list. That's up to our state senators, our state legislature, our governor to spend that money. And right now we haven't seen it. And so I'm hoping that they're actually invest it into the community in ways that you can actually see, because right now they're not.
Yeah, most likely they're not going to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they're not
yeah,
going to. We're not going to see that money ever,
correct.
sadly. Which is, I
Yeah,
ask you that, so at least if it's in the city, to see if
correct.
you have some type of influence
Hmm.
to get it back. But
Yeah.
back to the trash. Sorry to be back and
No.
forth,
Okay.
but
You're all good.
why I got you? I gotta get as much
Yeah,
out as
yeah,
I can.
yeah, go for it.
So,
Yeah,
is there any way that one of the programs you have is
yeah,
to bring back, youth, the kids actually cleaning the community?
yeah,
Is
yeah,
that
100%.
something that you could bring? I think that's important.
100%. It's in that thousand summer jobs program, right? I'd want to do it in a way where the older kids take real leadership responsibility. So it's not just the litter patrol. It's how do you teach, older kids the responsibility of, organizing the younger kids. Where do we go out? How are we doing it? But we used to. I mean, when I remember seeing, the in the summer the high school kids out doing the litter patrol, and I think that makes a difference. And it's totally gone right now.
Also, now back
Yeah.
to the schooling.
Yeah.
Times are changing.
Yeah.
Things are not the same, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Things change. Things has always evolved, and a lot of AI is coming out.
Yeah.
And whether we like it or not, a lot of jobs will be replaced,
Yeah.
and a lot of the jobs that's gonna take at least longer to touch is more so physical jobs because they need physical hands on it.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that we are learning and a lot of things that kids are getting their
Yeah.
degree for,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
slowly losing its value.
100%.
Slowly losing its value, and you're just not gonna be able to make the same money because one,
Right.
they go out the country now and hire people online cheaper, and they're doing 90% of the work, and then now they're going to AI that's coming for all these jobs. Is there any way, like I said with the financial literacy program in the school system in Jersey City, that we can start adding something that's actually gonna give kids a skill to have? You always need a
Yeah.
skill. It's different things I guess the board can choose from, but they need to learn something that when they leave they can actually go make money from.
Yep.
Half the things we learn you're not even using at the next level, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, no, I mean, like even computer programming now, right? AI is going to decimate a lot of the computer programming jobs just because
Yeah.
I can do the programming work that people used to be doing. So yeah, it's an issue that I need to think more about in terms of exactly how it is that we would make sure that our education programs are targeting the specific jobs that are going to be harder for AI to influence. But I think anybody can think through that, like if you give kids a really good education, they're going to be able to adapt to what the new world is going to look like. So I think it is going to be really important that we have a plan exactly what we should be emphasizing in high school. What are the ways in which higher education can help without putting people into crazy amounts of debt? And just as an aside, I mean, part of what I'm worried about too is what's happening with NJCU. So I mean, I used to teach at NJCU. It's in a really important college for Jersey City. So many people get their start there. I'm worried that they're going to start raising the tuition rates a ton because of this merger with Keene. And then the worst thing you can do is put a young person into massive amounts of debt, and they don't actually have the type of skill they need to then be able to work. So I really want to make sure NJCU thinks that through and make sure that kids, young adults, continue to be able to graduate that school with real degrees and not a ton of debt.
Yeah. I I went to NJCU
There you
for political science. I didn't
go.
finish though. School's just
Yeah.
personally
Wasn't your thing? Yeah.
wasn't my thing. If I wanted to finish, I could easily. It was never a problem for me, educational wise. It's just I've had enough with high school.
Yeah.
It's
I hear
different.
you.
I like
Yeah.
making money with my hands.
Correct. There you go.
Everybody got to have a place,
Correct.
but
Yeah.
I love politics. This is the
Yeah.
way I choose to be involved. It
Exactly.
gets real ugly and
Yeah.
nasty where you are. What
Yeah.
you know a little bit now. What you don't know, you'll find out soon.
Correct. I was
You
going to
will
say
find out soon.
by November 4th, we'll know it all. So,
So a lot of people are having problems with the public transportation in the city,
Yeah,
as far as the times that they're coming and
yeah,
the certain locations that
yeah.
they're not going.
Mhm.
How do you have any plans for that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, every form of public transit in Jersey City needs to be better. So you got PATH, you got light rail, you got the buses. So start with the light rail. Okay. Light rail service on the evenings, on the weekends, like every 40 minutes. Like it's a mess. It's super crowded, and it doesn't even have the basic time clock for you to know when the train's coming. I was canvassing a couple mornings ago over on the Danforth Ave station, and train was 30 minutes late. Everyone's just waiting on the platform. Nobody knows when it's coming. So that is way too frequent, way too regular. On the buses, you got some buses like up in the Heights, 119, 126 that go into New York. And then you got the Jersey City buses, the 87, the 10, the 80. Those buses oftentimes don't run as frequently as they need to, but when they do run, they like bunch up all together and then they're all apart and you got to wait 20 minutes for the next bus. There's technology you can put in place to solve that. And then Path Train on the weekends, every 20 minutes, really hard to rely on. All of those systems of transit can be much more reliable and frequent. And so for me as mayor, what do? Those are in the hands of the governor, but you sit with the governor and you say to the governor, the number one thing I need you to do is actually put money into NJ Transit. And again, I think that's the difference between how I would do it and how Fulop did it. Fulop's number one project was the Pompidou, the French Art Museum. And look, I got nothing against the art museum. I'm sure I would love it. I'm sure my kids would, type of thing. Parent, I want to take my kids there. But your job as mayor is to think through what's the core priorities for your city. And is the core priority getting a transit system that works more effectively, or is it bringing this museum in? And to me, it's a mistake because the governor is the one who has to, as mayor, you want to try to change it yourself, but you need the governor to be a partner on transit issues. And to me, that's the number one thing. So we get a new governor in January. The number one thing I'm asking for is better transit. And we need that type of transit for Jersey City.
I'm gonna ask you one last question
Yeah,
because I
okay.
know you're tired, and
Yeah,
I am tired as well.
I know it's
I've been
late.
up since 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Last question.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit and cry about it
Yeah.
because it's stuff like this has been happening since before I was born.
Yeah.
It's more so towards the racism.
Yeah.
It's nothing. Some things you can't. It just is what it is. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but on the light rail
Yeah.
public system, a lot of people in the
Yeah.
city
Yeah.
take the light rail. All different races, all different. Everybody takes it. So this is one of the problems that I had, and I hope it's something you can address. I know
Yeah.
you can't fix it because you can't sit there
Yeah.
and be there with the officers.
Right.
But I've taken the light rail my entire life,
Yep.
and there's many times I've taken it from Hoboken all the way to the end of Bayonne,
Mhm.
multiple times just to see for myself.
Yep.
It's a lot of times there's no officers at none of the stations.
Yep.
Do you know where the officers go? They go to the predominantly black locations. And do
100%.
you know what they're doing at nighttime? Soon as you get off the light rail, they're
Ticket.
blocking all the exits and they ask everybody for tickets. And the problem I have with that is,
Yeah.
how come you didn't do that
At
at
Hoboken.
Harsom's Cove? How
Right.
come you didn't do that at Hoboken? How come you
Yep.
didn't do that at Newport? Yeah, we see him do it now, but I'm talking about a large percentage of the time.
Yeah, of course.
They come on the train, and when they
Right.
come on the train, they come in at different. They
Right.
pick and choose who they want to
Right.
ask who has a ticket. I
Right.
have a problem with that because it affects too many people.
100%. Yeah. I mean, you need a system that works for everybody. Someone told me this, and I have to double check that it's true, but only 15% of anybody pays the light rail fare.
Less,
Yeah.
promise you that.
So it's like if nobody is paying for it, first, why don't we just make it free? Like if we're like, why don't we just make it free? Nobody's paying for it anyway, and then you don't have to deal with the enforcement that's unfair. But then two, if they're going to do this enforcement piece, I think it's our job as mayors is we can watch them, right? That's NJ Transit Police. We can say like, look, we'll set up and we'll figure out how often you did it at each station. And if you're doing it predominantly on Richard Street and Danforth and MLK, then we're going to call that out because that's racist. So
Just
we
like
could,
that, pull out
right.
their flashlight, ask them. I promise you, I don't lie.
Yeah. No, I believe it. You've been riding the light rail your whole life.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. But
that's.
no one pays for the ticket. So like, I don't know. I just think we should make it free at that point. It's
I'm
NJ
looking.
Transit. But like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that was it. I really appreciate your
And I
time.
appreciate I
Very
appreciate
important. You know, and I
Yes.
really do appreciate you sat down, take the time so late at night to talk
Yeah,
about
of
some of
course.
these things. It's
Of course.
appreciated.
Absolutely. And for everyone, just for who's watching, just remember, so election is November 4th. So obviously I always ask for anybody, ask for your vote. I hope I can earn it. And then we may have a runoff. So remember, you might have to vote twice, November 4th and then December 2nd. So just put those two dates in your mind.
All right. Is there how well are you doing right now?
Good. I mean, we did a poll. It showed McGreevy and I tied. He was at 27. I was at 26. Everybody else was pretty significantly behind. We put our first ad out. It's on TV and digital, so hopefully folks start to see it. It's like a little riff on Eminem, so I hope people enjoy it. But we think we're going really well. So you just keep fighting though. You run every race like you're down 10 points and you just try to earn every vote.
All right, thank you so much. I wish you luck.
I appreciate it. Thank
We're gonna
you.
be watching.
Have a good one, Leva. Have a good one, man.
You too.